This is me dunking at 183 pounds versus me after coming back from New York at 191 pounds. Gaining 8 pounds in a week had a lot of negative effects on my vertical, my joints, my cardio. I overall just felt worse than I did before I left. That's why in this video I want to discuss how weight affects your vertical and every aspect of it. Fat don't fly.
So that's what the Fat Don't Fly program is all about.
This is a semi-popular saying that's not meant to shame individuals that are heavier, but instead is a simple way of saying that fat does nothing but weigh you down and reduce your athleticism in every single way. This might be obvious to you, but you would be surprised how many people endorse bulking to increase their vertical. Now you might think to yourself, the added muscle will help you jump higher, which it can, but even muscle mass can possibly weigh you down, if not built correctly, and the strain on your joints increases exponentially every pound you gain. Also, depending on the type of jumping you're training for, this might just flat out nerf yourself for no reason, just like I did when I was first starting out training. Note that I never bulked intentionally. My back is just really big and I love to eat lots of good food. So yeah, don't bulk in my opinion. But now I'm going to get a little deeper and explain exactly why I believe what I believe so that it makes sense to you and you can decide what you want to do after the video. If you have watched any previous videos of mine, you should know that power outputs are the biggest factor in your ability to jump, which is why hypertrophy, although necessary, can hinder you if it's overdone. This is because the weight you would gain in muscle is a bigger negative factor than the power outputs you would gain being the positive factor. I wouldn't even bother stressing this too much though, because most of you will never even reach this point of building excessive muscle, because only bodybuilders really gain excessive muscle to the point where it hinders their jumping ability. Most people are actually not strong enough to jump high enough. It takes extreme hard work and dedication to even reach that point in the first place. The same is not true for your upper body though. Because it already has such little benefit to your vertical, not none, but some, if any of your upper body muscles is not fast twitch, it will weigh you down. From my experience and what I've been learning from others, neuromuscular gains might actually be more important than muscle building when it comes to increasing your vertical. This is because you don't gain weight from neuromuscular gains, it's just pure power output that you're gaining. And there is more on that. I do plan on making a video on this topic, so it might be my next video. But yeah, we'll see. The next and probably biggest reason why getting heavy is bad for your vertical jump is because your joint and tendon health will suffer tremendously. Jumping is one of the most intense forms of athleticism the body can perform. To make a jump even more intense, you can add load like weights or dumbbells, or you can jump from depth, which is exactly what jumping feels like when you weigh more than you did before, especially when you gain weight over a short period of time. The best way to improve your vertical jump is by training as specific and as intense as possible. But it's hard to do that when you're at an unhealthy weight for jumping, because it just puts pressure on your knees and tendons. This is why I would advise anyone who is above a certain weight to focus on weight loss before jumping, because it will be a bigger needle mover. Now, this isn't to say that you shouldn't do any plyometrics or jump training if you are above a certain weight, because I don't agree with that. You should be doing that stuff still. But just keep in mind that the heavier you are, the less volume of high intensity jumps you will be able to perform. Over time, the pressure on your joints from being too heavy can lead to serious training and performance plateaus. So I would highly recommend trying to maintain 10% body fat if you can. I know this is not possible for everyone, but it is for most, as long as you eat accordingly to know how much calories you burn. Good news for you, jumping is one big calorie burner. I personally eat almost 5,000 calories a day throughout 5 different meals a day, which I know sounds crazy, but when you add up all the jumps I'm doing, it adds up. And you can also be this lean as well if you work hard towards. I also do a lot of cardio. Like, I do more cardio than I actually do jumping, because my goals are not just jumping, it's to be in good shape overall for basketball, but majority of my time is focused on trying to be the highest jumper possible. Also, even if you watch the world's highest jumpers, they're all shredded. They might not all be 10% body fat, of course there are anomalies and stuff like that, but most of them are completely shredded to the bone. And it's not some coincidence or anything, it's just a fact that being lighter helps you jump higher. The final effect that weight has on your jumping is that it determines your jumping style. I'll explain what I mean right now. Now, unlike other activities like running or sprinting, When it comes to jumping, there are so many different ways that you can approach it, and I mean that literally. And this really does matter because certain jumping styles allow you to be heavier than others. Your standing vertical will always have more ground contact time than any other variation of jumping because you have no initial velocity. This makes strength a much bigger factor, thus allowing you to be heavier, as mass is one of the 2 factors of strength, which is force. This is actually something I noticed last year as I was training, was when my box jump would increase, my running vertical would decrease. So I would get excited because my box jump was higher and I was almost touching 60 inches on my box jump. But then when I went to go practice dunks, I was a lot lower, and that's because my standing vertical was improving, but my running vertical was actually decreasing because I was gaining weight, and that weight wasn't hindering my standing vertical, it was actually improving it. So yeah, that's just something I noticed. To make this simple for everyone watching, pretty much the more of a velocity jumper you are, the lighter you want to be, and the more of a power / strength jumper you are with less velocity, the stronger you want to be, and the more mass that your body should have. Examples of high velocity jumpers would be long jumpers, high jumpers, most basketball players, because you want to be taking off at high speeds. Unless if you're a post player, then you want to be more of a power jumper because you only get like 3 steps to take. Thanks for everyone who made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it, and I hope I was able to help you out with your jumping journey or knowledge about jumping and how weight affects that. If you want to see more videos, I have a lot of videos on different topics involving jumping. I myself right now I'm planning on losing weight because, like I said earlier, I went on vacation and I gained a lot of weight. So my goal right now is to try to get down to 175. I think I'm at like 187 right now, so I made some progress, but the highest I jumped was when I was 178. I was in a basketball tournament and I was just going crazy, and then I just fell off. But the clip at first was me at 183 pounds. That's usually like where I get to before I start gaining weight again. So this time I really want to push past. I want to see what the lightest I can be. Like, I want to know how high I can jump at my lightest weight, and I want a reference of how light I can go to increase my vertical and where that limit is, basically is what I'm saying. Also, from my experience, weight is the second biggest factor in your ability to jump. Like I said earlier, power is the number 1, and I've consistently noticed that whenever I lose weight, I'm jumping higher, my knees feel better, I can do more high intensity plyos, more volume of high intensity plyos, and I have less joint pain, and I'm just better overall. I can train harder, I can run more, I can squat more, and not more weight, but that's the one thing. I do get considerably weaker, but even though I get weaker, and even when I'm fatigued, I would rather be lighter and fatigued than heavier and rested. That's just my opinion, and what I've noticed is that I jump higher. I've just noticed that I jump higher whenever I'm lighter, even if I'm fatigued, even if I'm doing a ton of plyos. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me or disagree? It's fine with me either way. This is what I believe. Even if you watch, I watched a video with Isaiah Rivera and it was in John Evans. They were watching a high jumper train, and he trains pretty much exactly how I do. Like he does a bunch of plyos, then he goes into his powerlifting, then he goes into, so pretty much from high velocity to low velocity stuff, and he pretty much touches everything from strength, power, and velocity stuff in his workouts. I forget the guy's name, but it was pretty interesting to see that I train pretty similarly to that. So yeah, see you guys next video though. I'm out.